What's going on, guys? Welcome to Breaking Tackles, the New York Giants podcast. Alongside with Manny, I am your host, Antonio. Manny, what's going on, brother? How are you? We are officially in the offseason. This is the first podcast that we have in the official offseason, not just the Giants offseason, but the official NFL offseason.
Yes.
A lot of things happened since we podcasted. We got coaches, everything. All the coaches' positions are pretty much filled out, and we are set to go. Senior Bowl happened. We're locked in with free agency, and we're locked in now with the combine coming up, man. But before anything else, man, what's going on, man? How are you? How you living? How you feeling?
I can't complain, man. We're doing all right. Everyone's safe and happy and blessed. And you said it all. We got a lot to talk about and a lot to get into and a lot to look forward to. So it's a good time. How are you doing?
Man. Doing good, brother. I am excited for this off season. This is unfortunately has become the most exciting times for Giants fans. It's the off season when our team is not playing. And let's get right to it, man. We have. Let's start off first with the coaching staff. Let's go with head coach, obviously, Brian Daboll. We know that. Offensive coordinator, Mike Kafka. Defensive coordinator, Don Wink Martindale. And Thomas McGahee, he stays here as special teams coordinator. Off the bat, just let's go with those four names. Anything jumps off of you with these four gentlemen?
Man, how much of a badass did Brian Daboll look coming out of that truck? Ready to go. No jacket, cold as hell.
Yo, it's not cold for him. He came from Buffalo.
Ready.
That's what I'm saying. Like, yo, if you saw the video of Joe Sheen and of Brian Daboll coming to the press conferences, them dudes weren't cold, bro. They're like, yo, this is summer down here, bro. We came over here. We bringing the heat to New York City, baby.
And Daboll's from Canada originally, so my man stays in the cold.
Absolutely.
But I like the hire. I like the hire for. Obviously, it did stink that we left. That we did. Of all the hires, the one that did stink the most was
Patrick
Graham leaving. That did stink. But man, you really did. You couldn't have replaced him with a better defensive coordinator. Maybe Vic Fangio, but a guy available. I mean, Don Wink, been there, done that. He's pretty much a Rob Ryan brother, so he comes from that same tree. And he also has been able to coach and have legit defenses in Buffalo, and not just have legit defenses, but have his coaching staff, his defensive staff, develop those players,
right?
And have a really strong philosophy. Mike Kafka, a guy from the Chiefs, quarterback coach, passing game coordinator, former QB in his own right. He never called plays, but I really don't think he came to the Giants just to whatever the hell a non-play caller would do on the offensive side.
I agree with you. I mean, listen.
I think that's awesome.
I'll go one at a time there. Now, since you mentioned Mike Kafka, I'll go with him first. Yes. Yeah. He's down the totem pole in terms of what was in Kansas City, but I'm 1,000% sure this guy was there helping organize those game plans. I'm pretty sure that he was giving his input. If not, at least he was taking the knowledge in. Am I gonna say that is he ready to be an offensive coordinator? I don't know that. So we can't go ahead.
The only reason why I'll cut you off on that is because, I mean, obviously Eric Bieniemy had all these head coaching interviews, never got one. Now it's looking a little murky of why he never did. There's a lot more questions there. But it was always rumored had he gotten a head coaching job, Mike Kafka was going to be the OC. Okay. So either way, Mike Kafka was. Maybe like you said, there's obviously a lot of more. There's a few questions there.
Right.
It's exciting.
Exactly. Here's the thing. At the end of the day, what we have to realize that could absolutely happen is somebody's riding another person's coattails for success, and then when they get the time to shine, they completely flop, which we've seen with my favorite guy to ever mention in this in every podcast we make is James Bettcher, who was riding the coattails of the Tampa Bay defensive coordinator. I forgot his name. But
I know you're talking about. Former homie from
former
he used to be head coach for the Jets.
Former Jets head coach, exactly. Todd Bowles, yes. and he tried to bring Todd Bowles' defense, and he obviously didn't know what the hell he was doing. That could happen here,
I didn't know.
but at the end of the day, Brian Daboll is still the head coach, and he is an offensive mind. So it's not going to be like we had last year where Joe Judge had no idea about the offense, and he brought in this guy, Jason Garrett, and Jason Garrett is going to fake it until he makes it, and he never made it. He just faked it. In this situation, all that's going to happen is Mike Kafka is going to say, hey, listen, this is how we did this and that in the Chiefs. And Brian Daboll's going to implement it to his offense. So it's going to be maybe 75% Bills, 25% Chiefs. And that's going to be a lovely mix, man. At the end of the day, you gotta, what I think is just going to have a mix of both worlds. What I would love to see in this Giants offense next season is motion on every single play. That's my ideal situation, legit, is motion every single play. And if I want to be greedy, I want to say I would want to see, even though we don't have him, we don't have Mike McDaniels, I would love to see, what's his name? Tony at running back. Just a couple of snaps.
Listen, I mean, and Kansas City did a lot of different moves like that. Like, remember those plays? You would have Travis Kelce under center. And
it's a copycat league. It's a copycat league. So, other people are going to be doing that.
And I like that they both come in and said like this, yeah, we were at this place and coach. We came from the Chiefs. We came from the Bills. But our goal is to make this the Giants offense. Yeah. And to make it,
exactly.
And to make
Mike
it,
said that.
the play, and to make it, based off of not just our philosophies,
right,
but the players on the team. Like,
right,
Daniel Jones giving Daboll 3 plays of his, that he likes, 3 plays to run.
I love that, by the way. I totally forgot about that. That Brian Daboll was like, hey, listen, tell me what you like, send it to me.
And he wasn't the only one. He ain't the only one. That he probably did that with all the other offensive players that are going to be there. So it's exciting.
Yep, absolutely.
But for me, man, that Don Wink hire, get on the defensive side, that Don Wink hire was awesome too. I love that play, and I love the coaches he brought with him. Like, I love Brian Cox. I love that man. I love that man as a player. I love that man as a coach, a personality, like a man. Like, that dude is solid. I love that hire. I love the fact that we got a dude named, the guy Andre Patterson from the Vikings, who was the assistant head coach there, assistant D coordinator there, a guy who was at the very least destined to be a defensive coordinator, And then, I mean, on top of this all, you also got Mike Groh, wide receiver for the on the offensive side. He was an OC for the Eagles. So I love the fact that you don't only have a mixture of experienced NFL coaches, but you have in there some guys that have called plays that know what that OC and that DC are thinking and are going through.
I didn't think about it like that. Yeah, I agree with you 100%.
Awesome, And then obviously our special teams stays intact. T-Mac is in the building.
Right.
Belvins is still there.
Right.
Or I'm sorry, Blevins is still there. We still got the secondary coach, Jerome Henderson.
Yeah.
That dude Drew Wilkins. Drew Wilkins from the Ravens.
The outside linebacker, right? Coach.
The outside linebackers coach who, I sent you that video not too long ago. Him saying that this man is a star that nobody knows about, and that he's personable, and that he can help develop. And that's the thing I want to hear. Not teaching, not laps. Develop. Like, I don't want teachers to be coaches. I want actual coaches to develop these boys.
Right.
So I'm fired up for this coaching staff. And granted, it's on paper.
Yeah. No, exactly. We got to see what they do it. Here's the. I'll tell you one thing that excites me, one thing that scares me about Wink. I'll start first with what scares me. If he comes in and he tries to run the Ravens defense with the Giants personnel, it's just not gonna work unless they bring in people here. And no doubt in my mind, they actually will pluck some players from the Ravens, even if it's like the third string guy, because at the end of the day, you have to bring guys that know your culture so they can try to spread that culture over here. that always happens in almost every team. So I'm pretty sure we're gonna steal somebody from the Ravens, a couple of players here and there, even if those guys are gonna be special teams players.
Yeah,
But
yeah.
that's what scares me.
We'll get you hyped about him.
Okay, no, but is there anything you wanted to say about the scare part that I mentioned?
I mean, that's definitely understandable, and that's kind of like the Betcher situation. Like they brought him in, but didn't sign or draft any players to fit his scheme. So let's just hope that. And that was Gettleman.
And
you know,
to
like
his
a lot
credit,
of people
to Wink's credit, in his interview, he said, "You guys got me all wrong. I'm not this guy that's gonna be out here blitzing and just exposing my back." I'm not quoting him verbatim, but he pretty much said, "Yo, I'm trying to send 4 at all. That's what I'm trying to do. Send 4, and I'm trying to send them from different places. It's a deception that I'm trying to give. Not necessarily send 5, 6, 7, 8. He's not trying to send you the house. He's just trying to give you different looks because he knows coverages, not coverages. He said protections. Love to really talk about that. That made me feel a little bit safe, even about what I'm scared of. But again, talk is easy to say. Show me that on the field, coach.
And I mean, hey, dude, and then I know everyone's like, oh, the defense fell off this year, bro. By the beginning of December, they were 8-3 team, and towards like the last 4 games of the season, Lamar Jackson wasn't there. It goes right back to what we were saying. As good as our defense can be, if the offense isn't there, the defense is going to struggle. And they already were losing players, you know, in the freaking offseason. So the fact that they were at that point,
they have like, this is my fandom speaking. What if he comes here and he has better talent than he did in the Ravens? Yo, nobody's talking about that. Nobody's talking about maybe he made that Ravens group overachieve. And because you know what, from what I've been seeing, and guys, I mentioned this on Twitter, that I'm going to post pretty much offensive and defensive clips from week 1 to week 16, and I'm just going to bring it in for both the Ravens on defense and then the Bills on offense. What I saw from the Ravens that jumped off my mind, that jumped off the screen, they were a slow team, with the exception of Patrick Queen and maybe some guys in the secondary. Their linebackers, particularly the edge linebacker, the outside linebackers, I'm like, yo, this guy's asking some of these guys to play coverage, to drop back, and they just look slow to me. So I'm just like, yo, we look faster than the Ravens defense. Again, I haven't studied it. I haven't studied it perfectly. I will get to that. So we'll see about that. But that's one thing I want everybody to keep in mind on that. With Kafka, did I already touch? Well, the good side about the good side about Wink. The good side about Wink. Like you mentioned, Manny, this guy, out of his 4 years as the defensive coordinator, 3 of them was a top 5 defense. That's not a mistake, man. And let's take it even back. Very rare have you ever seen, since Ray Lewis has been there, the Ravens with a bad defense. I don't know if it's because the all-black uniform and you can't tell whether they suck or not, but it's not a mistake. That's all coaching and foundation, bro. And they've had a solid foundation there. This guy, he just finally left.
10 years.
He's been there for 10 years. Finally left organization that he was there for a while. You don't think that the fires is starting to come back now? Like,
and apparently, it wasn't. Apparently, it had to do more about
financial,
the contract money.
Right. They were like, yo, man, we honestly feel like we could do this without you. We can make these wheels turn without you. You don't think this guy is gonna have a chip on his shoulder to go ahead and coach this defense to be a top defense? And again, the Giants are 1 year removed from a top 10 defense. They were number 9 2 years ago. Fell all the way to the dirt this year. But why? Because we even had a worse offense in 2020 than we did in 2019.
It can't get any worse.
Like, it's crazy.
Okay.
So, dude, as much as, again, just like anybody who has common sense and anybody who's aware of where we've been and burned, I want to see things play out on the field. But off the field and right now, where we can't see anything right now, my optimism is sky high. That's as far as I'm gonna put it.
Yeah, legit NFL coaches, legit experience.
Yes.
There's some. Yeah, like I like this staff a lot.
That's a steal,
for sure.
bro. The Ravens defensive coordinator. That's a steal, bro. That's a steal.
And a guy who was in line to be a head coach for the Giants 2 years ago.
Which he still can be. He still can be. If let's say the defense works out, God forbid. I don't want to say this already, but if it doesn't work out with Dabble, he could come right in and be
a situation where like the defense balls and he gets head coaching interviews because of it.
Oh, he will.
And if that's the case, that's cool.
If the defense ball in 1 year, he will get out. He will probably be out of here in 1 year.
And that's cool. That's cool.
Right, we'll promote one of his boys to one of our insiders.
Just slide Drew Wilkins in there. Shoot, Andre Peterson, Brian Cox. You shoot Jerome Henderson. Yeah, we'd be lit. But let me ask you.
Go ahead.
So now that they've hired these coaches and now we know their schemes, what do you think when it comes to players? Like, we're going to get into the cap right now, but what do you think about the players and, like, certain guys? Like, obviously a big thing is James Bradbury. Does he fit the scheme?
I'm glad you pointed it out. And before I'm even going to talk about the defense, and that's funny, James Bradbury, we'll talk about that guy. But what the hot topic that kind of I'm not going to say it went viral because it's just the Giants. It's a local team, so I'm saying it went local, was a tweet that I put out that I said, I don't care. I'll try to read it, man. I'll try to read off the back because I don't even remember verbatim what I said. And I know, and guys, like I tweet, dude, my first language is Spanish. So when I'm tweeting, I'm not grammatical 100%, and I apologize on that, guys. But I said, guys, I don't care if Daniel Jones is the worst QB in the league. He's not. He will absolutely have a big year next season. I'm a believer that the scheme is first, players second, and we're gonna have some KC plays, some Buffalo plays. I can't wait. All right, so let me clear that up when I say that. One, I don't mean necessarily that Daniel Jones is gonna have a 40 touchdown season or 32 touchdowns and 12 interceptions. What I simply mean is Daniel Jones is gonna be leading a successful team. If he is the starting quarterback, because they like what they see on him and they bring competition in camp, I believe Daniel Jones, because of his arm, because of his legs, and yes, he will get power run QB plays and all this other stuff. He has the tools. What I hate about Jones is his pocket presence. His pocket presence is the number one thing to me. His IQ in terms of he sees something, he changes his decision making. There's a lot of things that I don't like about Jones. But I believe in a scheme, in a really good scheme, it could teach you kind of how to get out of those things and how to just make things better. So he might look better in this. My point is, when they say he is going to have a big season, I believe that he is going to lead us to a wild card contention. Not saying we're going to win the wild card. I said it's going to be on it. Our season is not going to end in October like it's been ending already for the last couple of how many years. So that's what I say with that. Now, which positions am I excited for to see work out of offense or defense? Honestly, I'm excited for the linebackers, both inside and outside linebackers. That's my bread and butter. That's what I love to see. I played linebacker in high school, and I'm excited to see what Wink can do with that position. And I'm excited to see the different, not blitz. I'm not gonna say blitzes, but the different rushes. Who's gonna come in? Who's gonna go? I hope we bring back Lorenzo Carter, but I can see Aziz. I can see our middle linebackers and the outside linebackers just eating in this defense. What about
you think Lorenzo Carter would be good for this defense? Aziz.
Yes.
Let me ask you, what's like when we see these coaches getting hired and stuff? Mm-hmm. Are there any players that you're like, they're not going to fit this scheme? Because obviously a big talking point has been like James Bradbury.
All right. Yeah. That's okay. So, in my opinion, that's kind of what scares me about Wink. Where it's like, are you gonna ask Bradbury to play man with no help above him? It's not gonna work. So, am I scared for Bradbury? Yes and no. Yes and no, because in my fan and in my positivity mind, I think that Wink is gonna realize, yo, this guy is a cover 2 zone guy, and I'm gonna play I'm gonna try to blitz in a zone blitz, and I'm gonna try to play towards his strength. So am I scared for Bradbury? No. A lot of people have been saying, yo, let's trade Bradbury, even cut him. Like, that's just ridiculous to me. As people are saying,
if you're gonna trade him,
yeah, but then they're like, yo, 13 million is a lot for a corner, and people are just saying that he is not a number 1 corner. Are you out of your mind? This guy balled, man. If it wasn't because of his interception numbers being so low, I don't even think, maybe he got like 2 interceptions last year, or 1. But if he dropped so many interceptions that if he would have made even half of those, it would have been a Pro Bowl year, not all pro, a Pro Bowl year for that man. So
yeah,
I definitely think he could play in this team, and I don't want to see the Giants move from him, unless they get some crazy good value off of a trade. If you get a second or a third, I'm cool with that.
I was listening to a podcast, Giant Zone, and that dude, I think Don Lama is his name. Mm-hmm. He had mentioned,
shout out to damn Lama.
Shout out to Giant Zone. He fly guy, my guy, banker, GM. He was saying that they pretty much that like the differences of like, and I don't know the specifics, but I can't remember the specifics, but he said pretty much that there wasn't much of a drop off when Bradbury went in coverage. Like maybe it was like a 0.2, 0.5.
He said something about the pressure rate was down for the defensive line, and that maybe would have made it look worse for Bradbury. Which
I think that helps. And any defense that's going to be able to get to the quarterback and have a good D line is going to help the back.
It needs to be both. It needs to be complementary. It needs to be a good amount of pressure, a good amount of coverage, so they can both look good. Absolutely. No, just the eye test, man. I listen. I broke down these film every week for this team, and I was like, yo. I mean, it looks like it's just bad luck out there. Like, yo, the Giants defense, everything looked like bad luck. Where that, honestly, is one of the main reasons why I'm okay with Patrick Graham leaving. Because I'm like, yo, everything was, so close. I'm like, yo, at that point, I'm like, yo, coach, you could have schemed something to get it from so close to, we're finally there. So, no knock on Patrick Graham.
He was good at like, adjusting as the season went on. He was good. But remember, he was doing a lot of that high single safety deal.
He started with single high man. He realized that didn't work. He ended up going to cover 2 zone and that back.
Yeah, I think the issue was that that rush wasn't there anymore. Man. The D line just wasn't as good anymore. And I'm talking more about just the pressures. I'm not talking about the sacks. I'm just talking about like your outside linebacker play wasn't as good as it was last year.
I'll tell you, to be honest with me, what was bothering me about the defense is every week they look like they were like, yo, this is our game plan. It's up to them to score on us. Yeah, instead of like, yo, we're facing Brady this week and it's not Mahomes, so we can't hit Brady with the same thing that we hit Mahomes. And that's what it looked like to me. And that's why I was like, nah, man, like, that's not what we need in this team. We legit need somebody that if in 1 week we're going to blitz 40% of a game, next week we might not be blitzing that much. Hopefully that's Wink, and that's on that. For you, Manny, what positions or what player are you excited about? And how do you feel about Bradbury before I even go with that? Let me ask you that same question you asked me.
I'll make this real quick because I'm going to talk about Bradbury real quickly. Mm-hmm. If there's a way we can keep him, I'd rather do that. Mm-hmm. Unless it's like, okay, we can't walk away from this type of trade. Mm-hmm. But I'll leave it at that. The player I'm looking forward to the most, and this may be just because he's my favorite player on the defense. I mean, Xavier McKinney. I think Xavier McKinney's gonna I'm hoping that wasn't like a blimp, but that was like a trajectory of where his career is going. Mm-hmm. Because I think I think he's going to thrive in this offense and this defense, excuse me. And I think he's going to be that safety who'll be able to be a chess piece. You can put him around in the box. He could be a strong safety in some plays, a free safety. He can cover tight ends. He'll be able to be there in zone coverage, play man, be on those exotic sacks that I didn't really see a lot. I think I like that. I think Leonard Williams is going to thrive in this defense, especially with the coaching. Like the Andre Peterson and Brian Cox coaching this man with Dexter Lawrence, and
they're gonna scheme up a way, man, to give that man one-on-ones, man, and they're gonna try to. I swear to God, let's hope they can even do something to boost up Dexter Lawrence to another level, because that's a first-round draft pick. Nah, I mean, I think the season's shown the talent that he could be a monster. Let's see if he gets.
I think Quincy's gonna continue to get a little bit better. Middle linebacker. We're going to get right into it because let's do a little cap talk.
Give me 1 second. Because you did mention Xavier Mckinney, and I just wanted to jump on that. A lot of people on Twitter, too, and I just got this, actually, this question is, would you be interested in Kyle Hamilton, the safety out of Notre Dame? To be honest, no, I wouldn't be interested in him. One, because I wouldn't want to see the Giants draft him at 5 or 7 unless
Big four are gone.
He goes and he goes and he completely destroys the combines and puts up God tier numbers. Cool. I'll take him in that sense. But we already have a over the top safety in Xavier McKinney, and that's where Xavier McKinney shined. It was in that over the top. If you remember at the beginning of the year, they tried to keep Xavier McKinney in the inside the box, and then they tried to have Logan Breyer over the top, and it was cool. It was not as effective as when they were like, okay, Xavier McKinney in the back, he's the center fielder now, and any other safeties, you guys are inside. Logan Ryan and Love, you guys are playing lower. It worked. It worked really well. And from what I've seen from the tape that I saw from Kyle Hamilton, he was playing that same center field spot. The one thing that I asked this new regime not to do is keep addressing positions that don't need to be addressed. That was one of the biggest problems that we had with Gettleman.
Yeah.
And that's all I'm going to say about that. So with that being said, there's a lot of reports out there, Manny, that Joe Sheen said that he has to cut off $40 million of the cap. I'm looking for the quote. I couldn't find it. The closest thing I found was that he said in Buffalo they were down $55 million and they had to clear that up. I'm guessing we're down maybe 40 and we have to clean that up. I'm not sure. Some people said that he said that to Peter King. I'm still looking for that Peter King article, or that Peter King broadcast, podcast, whatever. If somebody sees it, please send it my way so I can hear it. Manny, you gave me a beautiful breakdown of coulda, shoulda, wouldas, and that could be happening for this team, man. Let's talk about it, man. Right off the bat, man, give me 3 names that you're like, man, it will make sense if they're cut for next season. Absolutely makes sense.
3 names right now, no Band-Aid. Take the Band-Aid off. This is going to be super easy. Kyle Rudolph, Devontae Booker, Riley Dixon. I think both of those. I think all 3 of them can be gone easily.
They won't be in the team.
Yeah. Then we start getting into guys. And then I think this is the one that Joe Shane mentioned, that this is going to be the hard cuts, the hard decisions. Blake Martinez and Sterling Shepard, although Sterling Shepard after June 1st, post June 1st, because the cap space, there's a difference with the cap space and stuff that does significantly add.
So it's better for us to cut him in June 1st.
June 1st, post June 1st, that would be the goal.
Okay.
I think when it comes to, because everyone's talking about the Giants don't want to kick the can down the road, and I get that, but also restructuring doesn't necessarily mean you're kicking the can down the road. It just means you're giving that money up front and turning it into roster bonuses and then taking it off the cap.
Right.
I think the Giants can do that with Leonard Williams and Kenny Golladay easily.
Right.
Right there with cutting those players I mentioned and restructuring Leonard Williams and Kenny Golladay, they're at $36 million and a little bit in cap. I'm not going to go through the exact number. I'm just going to say 36 million, and we'll go from there. So 36 million they'll have in the cap. Not 40, but okay.
Right.
So this is where the things start to come up. If the Giants decided, let's restructure Adoree Jackson,
right,
and those other cuts, and they don't touch Saquon, they don't touch James Bradberry, they'll be at 41 mil. Mm-hmm. Okay. Mm-hmm. If they decide we're not going to restructure Adoree, but instead on top of and the big ones, there was Martinez, Shepard, post June 1st, Booker, Dixon, Rudolph, cut. Restructured, Leo, Kenny. Like those are the guys those are the consistent ones.
Right.
If you were to trade Bradberry, then the cap goes up to 48 mil.
Yeah. So you have plenty of space.
If you don't touch Bradberry and you decide to trade Saquon Barkley, which may
absolutely happen. I mean, think about it.
I don't know who would get the most. I don't know who would get the best trade value for it, but then that goes up to 43 mil. Not a huge difference. Now let's get crazy.
What would you take realistically for Barkley right now? What would it take you to trade Barkley right now?
Third. Yeah, I'll take a third, especially in this draft. It's pretty loaded. Now let's get crazy. What if the Giants are like, let's just trade both Barkley and Bradberry? Then the cap goes up to 55 mil. Now let's get even crazier. What if they want to trade Barkley, Bradberry, and restructure Adoree with all those other moves I mentioned?
Right.
We'll be at 60 million cap.
And
granted, we've talked about it.
Right.
Obviously, there's going to be options. They have options. They'll be able to move money and do what they need to do to restructure this cap space.
Right.
And we talked about it. The cap is a fugazi, and you can make it whatever you want. So the whole talk about the cap space is going to ruin the season.
Yes.
And to be honest, the whole talk about the Giants being not the worst team to go to for a head coach or a GM because of the cap, the front office, the ownership, the roster.
All BS.
With the coaching staff we've been able to establish and how the front office has turned out with Shane hiring his assistant, demoting Kevin Abrams to pretty much the cap guy. The fact that they were able to do that, all that was just noise. So like we talked about, cap's a fugazi, you can maneuver it. Clearly Shane has a plan. So I'm excited to see that plan, and like you mentioned, it's probably gonna happen sooner than later.
Yeah, man. I mean, again, out of the people that you mentioned, the cuts and stuff like that, I could see easily again Bradberry is gone just because Bradberry is coming from a really serious injury, ACL damage, and
Barkley?
No.
Martinez.
Blake Martinez. Yes. I'm sorry. Did I say Barkley? Okay. Blake Martinez is coming from
Bradberry.
Really.
Gotcha.
Okay. Good. Really bad injury, and will he have the mobility? I think that, in my opinion, the Giants are really lacking a pass coverage linebacker, and Blake Martinez coming off of a really bad injury. Is he gonna be able to do that? No one knows. Saquon, in what I believe is a analytical influence GM, he is probably right now really pissed off the fact that a lot of money is tied into running backs, which I'm pretty sure that he would want to have as least money as possible tied into his running back, especially not no $7 million. So, but at the end of the day, it's still the last year of that contract. So it's either and here's the thing. It doesn't make sense to sell low on Saquon. It just doesn't, man. I have a feeling that you give Saquon the right scheme, he could ball you out to week 7, and in week 7 you could give Saquon to somebody desperate and
what if at that point the Giants? What if that point the Giants are competing? It wouldn't be probably the best idea to start giving away your bet.
I wouldn't care. Here's why I wouldn't care. Because at the end of the day, what is he? He's a running back at the end of the day. What position do I not value if I'm Joe Sheen? Running back. I'm bringing in whoever the hell I have as a backup. And hey, yo, you gotta put up Barkley numbers now. Realistically, he's not. But what are we talking about? What's the drop off gonna be realistically in a good offense from running backs? You know what I'm saying? I'm gonna ask my rookie running back, right now. I'll make this example. The Cowboys would trade Zeke in a heartbeat.
They probably are, bro.
Because Tony Pollard is way better than Zeke. So you're telling me that we can't find our version of Tony Pollard? And okay, Zeke is a bum in my opinion. I think that he thrived a lot out of that offensive line, out of that god offensive line. Tony Pollard,
he's probably the best pass blocking running back. Like he's like a 6 offensive lineman.
Yo, see, and that's terrible because that's not what you want your running backs to be known for. So he's a fullback. There you go. So with that being said, if you get in the 5th and the 6th round, some kid running back that's running like a 4.3, whatever, Jr. Dude, whoever, I don't care. You know me, I don't know guy's name in college right now, but bring me a rookie. That listen, for the first 6 weeks, we're gonna give the majority of the load to Saquon, and then that way the rookie running back, he's not even taking the full season load. You're taking it from week 7 on, bro. Hey, it's not a crazy idea, man. It makes sense.
I feel you.
Because
I feel
look,
you. Honestly,
I know that Saquon is an amazing talent, but what was he an amazing talent able to do with a bad scheme and a bad offensive line last year? Nothing. Dude, we could have had freaking... Who could we have? Booker was putting up better numbers than Saquon. Say it again?
Wayne Gallman last year.
Gallman, exactly. So it's like...
hold on. There's another dude. Alfred Morris had a few moments.
But that's what I'm trying... So there you go. Now you're starting to see my point that it's like, sell Saquon high, even if we're winning, even if we're 6-0, sell him.
Okay. I mean, I don't... Honestly, that's some analytical shit.
That's some crazy shit.
What about Bradbury?
No, because in the totem pole of analytics, corners are too important. So if I'm winning, and I'm winning my ass off, I need Bradbury here because he's the integral part of this offense. In the totem pole of analytics, running backs are replaceable.
So if the team kept, would your preferred deal be we talked about it. They restructured Leo, they restructured Kenny,
right?
Cut Blake, cut Sterling post June 1st, cut Kyle Rudolph, cut Devin Booker, cut Riley Dixon, and then just restructure Adoree?
Yes. Yeah. Keep Saquon and keep Bradbury and just keep Saquon till the halfway of the season, or trade him, even before the season starts. Doesn't matter. I'm cool with that too.
I wouldn't be mad if the Giants had a good season and they just kept him and let it ride.
I wouldn't care about that.
I wouldn't be mad.
But here's the thing, though. We're not gonna sign him. We're not gonna resign him. And if we are gonna resign him, we're gonna give him a lot less than what he's making now. Is he gonna be okay with that? Because running backs, he'll probably make more Nike than he would, yeah. Yeah, because running backs that are drafted in the top 5, they get a ridiculous. They come off college as the highest paid running backs in the league, and that's the thing. Saquon right now is one of the highest paid running backs in the league. You do it on his rookie contract.
I just don't like if people are going to be so quick to get rid of Bradbury but keep Barkley, you got to entertain both those options. Because, come on, positional value, Bradbury holds a little more weight than Barkley.
Way more weight, man.
As we saw it, bro, from over the, I went on Over the Cap, and I don't know how legit this website is. Mm-hmm. The cap is very much a fugazi, doable thing that they can get done. Yeah. So, like we were talking about.
Whoever they want this offseason, they'll be able to get, man. They'll be able to work things out. Just like we're talking about right now, they'll be able to free up enough cap and get him. I don't know. It's going to be great. You know what? I haven't seen much, and it's just that's because the NFL is the NFL, and people care so much about the draft more than free agency. I haven't seen a nice list of these are gonna be the free agents out, and it's also because a lot of teams could franchise, a lot of teams could block dudes if they're restricted free agents. A lot of dudes have a hard time. They have a hard time getting out of their teams, but I haven't seen a list yet of who's the juicy free agents that are gonna come out, and hopefully we do get a podcast out with that information in the upcoming weeks because Combine is coming up real quick and the start of free agency is coming up real quick as we speak. I think Combine is 2 weeks away and free agency is 3 weeks away if I'm not sure. Something like that.
What's after the free agency? What's after that then?
The draft, right?
Yes. So the draft. Let's start talking about the draft. Not specifically who we're going to take, anything like that. But I mentioned I want to just start talking about certain players and guys that I think, I'm not going to go. I don't want to go through like a 5th rounder or 6th rounder. I want to go through like dudes that we think are legitimate shots at draft picks at 5 and 7.
Right.
This dude I think is going to be at 5, and I wouldn't be surprised if he's the first overall pick. It's a dude that I feel like is turning into a fan favorite. I don't know if I'm pronouncing his name correctly, but here we go. Ikem Ekeonu.
Yeah.
6'4", 320 pounds, from NC State, born from originally Charlotte, North Carolina, home of our very own Daniel Jones. The one thing about this man, when you watch his tape, right off the bat, nasty, powerful,
free kill.
And he's trying to put dudes down. He's super smart. You could tell that because there was one play where the guy went behind him and he just still tried to butt block him, like just try to get him in the way. Like he's still like, I mean, I think if I'm not mistaken, he had a full ride to go to Harvard. They don't send that to dumb people. He's smart as hell. I love that about him. He comes from a really athletic family. His twin brother plays football at Notre Dame. His dad was a college basketball player in Nigeria. His mom was a track star. He himself wrestled in high school, which offensive linemen wrestling are amazing.
Yeah, I love that.
And then as a freshman in North Carolina State, he started left tackle, led the team with 37 pancakes.
Godly numbers.
Sophomore year, he was a left guard, and then eventually went back to left tackle. And then that same season, still led the team, 50 pancakes, 22 knockdowns. Obviously, when you look at him, he's a dude who's trying to bulldoze defenders and get them down to the ground. He's trying to get to the second level and get to that DB and what's he call it? Kill time. Yep. He's trying to find the DB out in the second level and lay him out. Oh. You know, he's also a dude who's twitchy. He's a good athlete. He has good movement skills and stuff. And he, with his hands, if he gets you with his hands, just go down because he's going to keep you. He's not going to let you up. And there's obviously some things that he can get better at still. You know, he's not a finished product. His technique was breaking down a bit towards the end of the season. You know, he also was kind of a hit and miss when it comes to striking. Like if he doesn't strike you, you can maneuver around him. Especially in that Florida State game, there was a few plays where Jermaine Johnson, the edge, who we'll talk about, was able to spin move him. And sometimes he gets too aggressive and he'll overextend himself and stuff like that too. He can sometimes fly out of his stance. These are all coachable things.
Exactly.
For me personally, dude, honestly, I think and I got this note from Draft Network, and I loved it. If you were to put him in the 1980s offensive line, whichever line you think of in the 1980s, he would be just like the regular guys.
Like he'll fit right in. He'll fit right in.
Physicality and his main drive. He has it's something within him that makes him wants to put defenders in the dirt.
Yeah.
Like this guy thrives when he's able to get on top of defenders. He thrives when he gets his hands on you, and in space he's trying to take you out. My thoughts personally, to me, I think he's the best offensive lineman in this draft.
Let's go.
I get Neal. I get Neal is probably the best tackle. I get Kenyon Green is the best interior lineman to me. But I feel like Ikem Ekeonu is a guy who, whether it's interior tackle, I think he could be great at both those positions. And I think those other guys could as well. But I just really feel like I get freaking Quentin Nelson vibes when I see him, like when he plays. I think he can be that type of dude in guard just as much as he could at left tackle. His preference is left tackle because he's played that. He thinks he can really get better at that. But he's a team player and he's willing to play anything. Like from that Pro Football Network interview he did.
Imagine if we get him and we put him at left guard though, and then we would have Thomas and him at guard and tackle.
I think with getting a dude like with him, like say the Giants draft him. and then down the draft they get a guy who can be a really good right tackle,
Right.
or they get a free agent who's a really good right tackle.
That's what I'm saying.
If Matt Pert finally, gets his head out of his
Wakes
ass,
up, right.
if he starts playing,
right,
then Ikem Ekeonu being on your offensive team is gonna, you love this word, he's gonna change the culture of the 5 men, and he's gonna give you the best chance to have your best 5 offensive linemen there, because it wouldn't matter if there's a guy who's a good tackle. You can put Ikem Ekeonu in guard, and if something happened we just saw Andrew Thomas got another surgery on his ankle, only missed 3 games. I'm not really worried, but if something were to happen, Ikem Ekeonu can play left tackle.
You still don't think they need the depth, for sure.
I would love him. If he's a New York Giant, I would be ecstatic. I would be
no, dude. Who wouldn't be? I mean, from the video you just showed me and his attitude of, oh yes, when he saw the video of him getting that pancake on the DB, that's all I needed to know, man. And I truly believe that's what Joe Schoen is trying to bring in here, is those guys with not only the physical gifts, the mental gifts, but the swagger, bro. That's what you need in here. That's what this locker room is full of yes sir, yes ma'am type of guys. It feels like, and we just need to have some guys with that salivate when they see an opportunity. Not like, hey, maybe it'll work out for me. No, like, dude, we need those guys that are gonna punch people in the face. And listen, after you broke him down to me and you read that to me, I personally don't see no way this guy is not on the top 3. But the beautiful thing about being this high in the draft is, listen, if somebody good is gonna come to us at 5 that we're gonna be like, yes, we got him. You know what I'm saying? So it's gonna be fun, man. It's gonna be fun. Combine is coming up, man. And
were you excited about player-wise in the combine to look at? Because for me, it's him and it's a few other guys. But again, who are you excited?
No, to be honest, and I'll say this over and over. I am not a person that's big on the names. I don't follow college football as well as I should follow it. But I love watching the combine and just getting just amazed by the numbers that some people put up. And then that's when this individual right here starts then looking at tape. After I start seeing like crazy numbers, that's when you'll be like, okay, time to do my homework on this person, see if their tape is any good. So what am I excited for the most in the combine is 40s, bench presses, and verticals, yo. And then once I get that information, I'm in, man. I'm gonna see, yo. I want to see a diamond in the rough type of wide receiver type. You know what I'm saying? Something like nobody's really talking about, but then he comes in and just runs this crazy speed that just elevates him.
That's how Cooper. That's what Cooper Kupp did.
Cooper Kupp run a 4.6 though.
Well, I'm talking about just the other. The
other things in the combine.
Yeah, and like the other.
Amazed. Okay.
Whatever. And granted, the combine isn't like the be all end all, but
at all. For example, like an idiot like me will probably pass up on Cooper Kupp.
Like wide receivers, defensive backs, running backs, when they run fast 40s, that translates in a certain extent, right? Like if you're fast, you're fast.
I personally don't even put that much into a 40.
Like bench press, I think for me, of all the competitions out there, the bench press translates the most for any of those players, especially for offensive linemen. Like if you see an offensive lineman put it up, they put it. They're doing that's what you want to see.
Yeah.
Honestly, man, I'm interested to see Kayvon Thibodeau, because that dude, they've been talking about him sliding and yodeling, which would be awesome.
By the way, let me just interrupt you real quick. Quentin Nelson bench pressed 35 times in the NFL Combine. So if your boy comes and he does 30, 32, around that number, dude, I hope the Giants straight up and go get him. I'll give up something.
I mean, bro,
I don't care.
To be honest, I wouldn't be surprised. I mean, if you look at it, we'll break it down. I think there's a chance that we're gonna have there's a chance we'll have a shot at either Ikem or either Icky or Kayvon. I think one of those guys is gonna be there at 5,
sure.
and that's my optimistic self because I've told myself in my mind that the teams in front of us aren't like so poor on their offensive lines as we are, or are as poor on their defensive line as we are.
Yeah, no, I mean they are, because the teams in front of us are teams that have their quarterback in place and are now trying to protect their quarterback. But
the Texans,
what
though,
did we see?
is the one team.
What did we see in the Super Bowl? We saw a team that had a really bad offensive line and had elite wide receivers. So maybe
an elite quarterback.
Maybe these teams say, hey, we might want to get the best wide receiver that's available, and then maybe do some crazy shit like that.
And if you think about it, for me, the two teams, the Texans and the Jets. Texans, they have a left tackle in Laramie Tunsil. Mm-hmm. They drafted offensive linemen a few years back as well. That's a right tackle and a right guard. They have like not the best offensive line, but decent. And then you got the Jets. They just gave George Fant a deal. So he's their left tackle or right tackle. He's their guy. Mekhi Becton, they just drafted him. I know there's but he's there. And then they also drafted Elijah Vera Tucker last year, who has that flexibility tackle guard there. So, I mean, I think of all the teams there, I think of all those 5 teams, I think the Giants have the worst offensive line of those 5.
Yeah, man. It's not a given that the Jets go offensive tackle, especially when their head coach is a defensive-minded head coach. They might take Kayvon. They might take Kayvon and not take Mikwanu. Right, or Hamilton.
They just let go. Like we're talking about the combine. Imagine how Hamilton's going to do in the combine. If he tests freakly, if he tests like a freak, that's going to blow up all the boards.
I even want to see, dude, it's so crazy. This is what I love about this part is like you want to draft everybody. And it's gonna be fun. It's all of them. It's gonna be fun to see this combine, man.
One thing, because I forgot to mention this, man. One other guy that I cannot wait to see at the combine, Malik Willis.
Mm-hmm.
That dude has a whistle. That dude has a whistle when he throws the ball. He's athletic as hell, and obviously the game didn't really show that as well.
His stock dropped.
I think any team that takes him and is patient with him, they're gonna have them.
It's gonna be a development project.
I think if any quarterback, that's the only guy that I would want the Giants to draft. Yeah, the only guy.
Absolutely. I still want a piece of Malik. Listen, at 7, I would take offensive lineman and Malik. Who knows, man? It's gonna be interesting to see as hell, though. It's gonna be a fun combine. Let's wrap this up. Any last minute? Any last thing to say on your part?
Carte Blanche. Our team finally has that Carte Blanche. There's no question. Joe Shane is running the show. He hired his head coach. Mm-hmm. Brian Daboll has full autonomy of his staff, and it shows. It shows. Like the hires that he's made, the people that he brought in. He's not just bringing in his homies from college or his homies from here, but he's bringing dudes he's never worked with, guys he has relationships with, and guys he's known of. You know, Shane brought in the assistant Brandon Brown from the Eagles as the assistant GM, a guy who knows how to draft effectively offensive linemen and players as well. Like the Eagles, that's what they have. They have a decent offensive line, decent D line. For me, this needs to be a shirt. Carte Blanche. The Giants finally did it, bro. They've done what we wanted. Now they got to go and win.
Yo, I just have like this vision in my head that the Giants coaching staff, like as an entire coaching staff, they're sitting in MetLife and they're like in this like little mini auditorium. They're watching week 1 through 17 and they're just like watching who's good or who's not. And then there's also like, what kind of play did this coach call right here and shit like that? Like they're just laughing at the 39.
Hold on, rewind that.
So, it's regarding to that what you're saying. Everybody right now is at MetLife. They got the scouts in there. They're going over game plans for the combine. They're getting their draft boards ready. Coaches
1
are
through 4. Shane said he's got it down.
Coaches are going over who they like, who they think gotta go on this team, and everything is meshing right. The Giants stadium, the Giants facilities right now is the hottest spot in the world. It's where anybody would want to be. And man, it's gonna be exciting, man, to keep track of this team. It's a new life, it's a new day for us, man, and I'm excited to see what's gonna happen, man. Manny,
very excited, man.
Another episode man, and we're gonna keep going, brother. Man, let's make this keep going, man. I love this energy, guys. We just did under a little hour here. I hope you guys didn't mind. It's gonna be a little long, but hey, it is what it is. Manny, go ahead.
Appreciate y'all for coming in. Please come back.
Absolutely.
We're going to keep trying to get these videos out. We're going to keep trying to just do it for you all. And again, appreciate you guys. And y'all be safe. Thank you guys.
Absolutely, man. Guys, drop comments on the YouTube channel. Like, subscribe. It helps us. It lets us know that we're doing something that you guys actually like. And then obviously on our Twitters, you know, if you guys, Manny, give them your Twitter.
Yeah. Manny.Madrigal58. Manny.Madrigal58.
Mine's.
I'll look at that. But yeah.
Mine's is BT Giants. That's a Bob, Tony Giants. Hit us up, man. Hit us up on any type of social media you can. And let's just make this grow, man. And we're doing this for y'all. And we're doing this for us, too, because we love this. It's too dope to do. And it's exciting. It's something, to get the day moving in a positive direction, man. All right, let's wrap this up. For Manny, I'm Tone. Guys, peace, and thank you so much for joining us. We check you around next week.